Hey horror fans, thanks for joining me for this review of Nope. Cast and crew information down below, and let's check out this IMDb plot to start. The residents of a lonely gulch in inland California bear witness to an uncanny and chilling discovery. Alright, gulch, that's a new word. Alright, so this one's been out for a little while now. I didn't see it in theaters, obviously, and just caught it recently. Trying to catch up on a few here that I missed, and obviously lots of talk about this one with Jordan Peele. Everybody's excited about his movies or anything he's attached to after Get Out and Us, and everybody's waiting for him to I guess fall or to see what he does next, and see if he can continue this momentum that he has here with these films. And because I think you'd say for the large part those two previous films, I think most horror fans would say they either liked it enough. Two kind of different films. One, probably a little more race based, and the other one kind of got into the creepy and weird, definitely at the ending of it. And so it's, what is this one all about? And kind of thinking of it to start with the title Nope. I was kind of thinking, is that one of the most scariest titles you hear? And I mean, I get it. I could see it in a horror movie. No, don't go there. No, I don't want any part of that. No, I'm not staying in the haunted house. So I kind of see it, but I don't know. It just doesn't scream horror. But anyway, kind of, I'll try to keep this kind of spoiler free. I know this has been out. I know everybody wanted to see it. Kind of probably already did, but I'll still keep it spoiler free since it's new. Actually, I won't. I changed my mind. I won't. I actually do want to talk a little bit about what happens there at the end, and I guess what the real surprise is here. So this is not spoiler free. Never mind. You've been warned. But to just take you really quickly through what's going on here is obviously it is a small town, small area. The family here is involved with horses, and on a small, I guess, horse farm, if you want to call it. And before you know it, weird stuff starts happening. Mostly weird stuff starts happening in the sky, and uh, that's causing some issues for them. Things like electricity going out, the horses going wild, and it also causes an accident to their father at the beginning, and so it leaves them behind to kind of run the business and see what they want to do here. And then obviously the weird stuff starts happening, and then it's kind of what we do. What do we want to do now? Do we want to kind of continue to mess with this weird stuff, or just get away from it? And then it comes to the kind of point where they decide, hey, we want to film this, and we want to be the first ones to kind of capture this kind of event that's going on. And I'll mention it in a second. Try to keep it semi-spoiler free until the moment I want to talk about what's going on here. But so they want to kind of capture what is happening in the air here, what is happening around their ranch. And as the weird things kind of start happening a little bit more and more, they kind of figure out a few things about what is kind of happening, what they can and can't do, and so forth. And they also involve a guy at a local, I guess, let's call it the local Best Buy or whatever. Circuit City says it's closed, and they kind of involve him in the technical aspects of it, and he brings a touch of humor into it. Um, not dramatically, but a touch of humor there. And he's, kind of the tech guy, and that kind of plays a role in it because they need to kind of figure out, a way to film what's happening, and also it's kind of give them a little bit of a hint of when whatever's happening is happening, because it's kind of electrical, and or at least it causes electrical outages in the house and so forth. Um, he's also going to get it, some stuff on film. He eventually comes to your house and sets up uh, cameras around the house and so forth. So that kind of helps them out also in the discovery of what is happening here. And you find out that there's one person involved here that kind of knows what is going on, and something is going to happen to that person, and so they're already kind of tipped off, and but things probably don't go as expected for that person, and then you know we see a touch of, like I said, mentioned before, and obviously I think it was very obvious in Get Out, but it did play somewhat of a role in Us as well. A little bit of race there, and there is a little bit of mention that in here early on when he's talking about the horses in film, and horse trainers in film, and that kind of plays a role in why they want to film what is going on here. They want to partake in history again and be the first to kind of film what is happening here. Um, so that kind of plays another minor role in it. So he does sneak that in once again, which is fine. I also think he's largely playing, or kind of makes a point of, to me it's also a point of, I get it from the history angle and wanting to film it and so forth. I get that, and the touch of talking about race there in that angle, but I think he's also making a point of how we are these days, and social media, and filming things, and everything has to be filmed, and kind of like what I'm doing now. I'm filming a review here, and everybody's got their cell phones and is filming stuff, and I got to capture this and I got to capture that, and can I capture the new thing over here, and what kind of video can I create, and so forth. And it doesn't venture so hard into that, and so hard into the social media aspect of it, but kind of captures kind of the need to film this event, and obviously more of a history angle in their mind. But I think for a lot of us watching, we can kind of relate more to maybe the social media aspect, and those of us who have our phones, and create kind of things for people to see, and have YouTube channels and all these other channels, and social media that we're throwing all these videos on. So I think he kind of touches on that in a different way there as well. Um, but again, obviously something's dramatic is going to happen at the ending here, and I guess this is where I'm going to be non-spoiler free. So if you haven't seen the movie, be alerted, because I'm basically going to give it away. And I think if you saw social media kind of before and as this movie was released, when they first kind of talked about it, you're like, well, what the hell is this movie about? And then I think more and more, as it kind of got closer to releasing, you kind of got the hint that it was maybe alien related and so forth. And they certainly play that angle, and it certainly very much seems like an alien, and so forth. And they think that it definitely is. But then he does something kind of interesting and kind of weird in the same way. And I didn't go and I didn't look at too many other people's reviews and so forth of the movie. I just saw that it seemed like a majority of the people liked it enough. Either really liked it or liked it enough. There wasn't too much hate, at least from what I could tell. But he does something kind of interesting, and he kind of combines two things. Yeah, it is alien in stature, and it looks like a flying saucer, and that's kind of what you're portrayed as, and that's what you think it is, and that's what they think it is to begin with. But then it becomes something else. It also becomes a creature. So he's like half flying saucer, half creature, all in one. And I'm kind of split on that, because I think, when you're seeing it, it's weird, but when you kind of step back, you say, okay, he did something interesting here. He combines two things. He's teasing you that it's a flying saucer. You're convinced that it's a flying saucer. You're convinced that it's aliens. And as I'm watching this, I'm kind of thinking, when are we going to see the little green man or whatever come out of this flying saucer and start messing with these people? Is that going to happen here? Is that what is going to happen? And then obviously he kind of just adds that extra element that, well, the flying saucer is the creature here and is the alien itself, or, I don't remember it ever specifically saying that it necessarily came from outer space. Maybe it was just a creature here. I don't know. I would think that it came from outer space. Hopefully it did. Surprised nobody. Damn, what is this damn movie? God, I'm so bad with names of these. The Cloverfield movie. I'm surprised nobody mentioned that maybe this was one of these Cloverfield monster creatures. But if you step back, that's kind of interesting how, he adds that extra layers. And no, it's not just a flying saucer, but it's a flying saucer creature here. And, add some elements to it. It can do, it can do certain things and can't do certain things. And, kind of gives them a little bit of advantage in certain aspects and so forth. And, now that I think about it, there is a guy that comes on the scene towards the end, and definitely is more geared towards that, I gotta capture everything on video thing. Someone outside of the family here that interferes with what they're doing in the end. So you do see that, and I think that maybe at that point it kind of stresses, what I was saying about, him making a point about us and how we live now and wanting to film everything. But yeah, that was just going back to that point. But anyway, back to this creature thing. Yeah, so I think if you take a step back, that's kind of interesting in a new kind of twisty way. But I know, some people thought the end of Us was really weird, and maybe he thought too hard with what was really happening there. And, I could kind of see maybe some people thinking the same thing here, that maybe this is, maybe that was just a touch weird, and what happens at the end. And then you see what I thought was really weird is how this creature kind of just at the almost towards the end moments there, the last times we see it, it kind of changes body form, and it's not like really a flying saucer anymore. It looks like I don't know, like half parachute, half squid looking thing in the air. It's just really weird. I don't know. It's a very odd looking thing. I'm not sure what the hell it's doing. It's just kind of floating around, and then, has another awkward moment because it kind of comes in contact with, she lets go of a float, a giant float, and then it kind of gets in contact with that and has a bad reaction to that, and then poof, it's gone. So there's, with some of these movies, you get the extreme weirdness and then the final moments here, and that was just, it was odd. I mean, the flying saucer thing and then turning into a creature. There was some excitement there in those ending, as they were trying to film it. I thought it was very good because it was very dramatic. Like I said, they added that element of that person that kind of comes on the scene that wasn't expected. They brought in a special cameraman, and then he kind of does something unexpected. So, it's a good final act as it kind of comes, head on, because I think leading up to everything, it's an okay movie. You kind of get an introduction to what's going on here in this family, the family dynamic. There's light humor there, nothing over hilarious. The acting is good, but it's a lot of sprinkling the elements of figuring out what is going on here and what is going on in the sky, and a few exciting moments, but nothing over the top. It is just really everything is just building to this final moment where they're going to try to film this thing, and it's not a bad scene, but I think just that last moment there where it kind of transforms into God knows what, and then just what happens there for it to kind of disappear or leave. It's a little strange, but I guess once you get to that point, I don't know if it's just okay, we've done a good job getting to this point, but what do we do with this thing? I don't know. We've built this creature. How do we get rid of it? Okay, this is how we're gonna get rid of it. Does that make a lot of sense or whatever? I don't know. Maybe I missed the point where maybe there's a mention of that was a certain weakness of it or what. I don't know. It was just very odd there in that last moment. But what can you expect? I mean, when you have a flying saucer / creature kind of thing. But overall, I thought it was a good enough movie. Again, with everything I just said a few moments ago. Everybody now wants to quickly rank his 3 films and whatever, and kind of judge. And then to me, I've kind of more like waiting. I would say all 3 of the movies that he's done here are solid enough. I'm not gonna call any of them a bomb or any of them like why he do that. That was terrible. Yeah, I keep looking at him and it's so funny because everybody's just every time and I guess when your name gets just attached to these movies, so that and everybody's so excited, I guess that's just the territory it comes with. But I keep looking at it as when I kind of look at him and what's going on is I keep thinking in my head a comparison to M. Night. In my mind, a lot of his best movies were his first movies. Some of the first ones he did were his better things. Some of his later stuff, it's certainly mixed and certainly debatable. And I would definitely say some of them bombed and some of them done. And I think you could say that with most writer directors and whatever. Not everything's going to be a hit. Not everything's going to work. I think that's fair to say, and I think any of them would be honest in saying, not every one of my movies is going to be awesome. Not every one of them is going to be well received and 5-star and so forth. So, I kind of look at so far his career from my eyes kind of in the same way. He's put, 3 really solid movies together, 3 really good movies. How long will he be able to do this before, he starts slipping? Where maybe there's going to be a bomb. Maybe there's going to be a really bad one that's coming. When is it going to become, not just a small group of people that are like, I didn't really like that, but a larger group of people that are just like, yeah, that just didn't work. When will that moment hit? And it's not, and I'm not saying that because I'm rooting for that. I want good horror movies. I mean, if he can pump out good horror movies or at least above average horror movies, then I'm all for it. I'm not here waiting for him to fail. I'm just saying that I kind of seeing the same thing here. He's started off high, and then how long is he going to stay at before he starts going down slope? You kind of think of it as most people having a career of movies, and then they're kind of going up, as getting better as going. And the way I think of M. Night and maybe him is you're starting up here and instead you're going this way. So we'll see what he does, but this one's certainly different. I think especially I think the first 2 are definitely more scarier films or had more moments of scare and fear, and in this one not so much. This was more of the story and the creature and what we're going to do here at the end. And maybe a little bit of the twist here that it's not the alien, it's the alien slash creature thing, and and again he does sneak in some commentary about society and race and where we are and so forth. So he kind of sticks to that formula, and that's worked nicely for him, and that's fine. Um, but yeah, I would, like I said, I don't want to get. I'm trying really hard not to get into the ranking thing, but I would say, you know, the first two I debate. It just depends on where it is. But I would say this is clearly underneath the first two. But I'm not, ready to. This is not a bomb. This is not a bad movie. It's not terrible. But I would say, in my eyes, this is under the first two. Um, so with that, I'm gonna just give it three pools of blood. I not blown away. I enjoyed the movie. Like I said, that final thing of whatever the hell happened to this creature, was a little weird. I liked that he did the little twist. I think everything that kind of happened leading up to the final act was okay. Like I said, it this is in a way it's more of a sci-fi movie. It's not horror. Not a ton of blood. There was some blood. Okay, I'll give you that. There was one really good scene um, when I can't try not to give everything away here, but let's just say when it rains. I'll say that. That was probably the biggest horror scene of the movie, and so I give that. But I guess it kind of leaned more towards the sci-fi. So and maybe that's why I'm giving it three pools of blood too, because you guys know me, and I've said this a million times. I am the blood and guts. I like that, I enjoy that, and that's that tends to resonate with me more. And you're gonna get higher pools of blood if you have a lot of that in the movie. So yeah, so I'm just gonna give it three pools of blood, and that is out of five. But no major problems here. No, I enjoyed it. I liked it. I wasn't blown away, and that's just where it is with the movie. Um, Here, let's see. IMDb gave it. It's as of right now, it's 7 out of 10. So we can all argue about these scores on these sites and so forth. I mean, I've seen some I agree with, some I don't. 7, I think it's seems pretty good for it here, and pretty good for an IMDb score here. So, like I said, I think more people enjoyed it than not, or at least thought it was good enough, and that's probably the boat I'm falling in here. So, with that, horrorscorereviews.blogspot.com is where you can find more of my reviews. Video reviews are there. But so are written ones if you're looking for that as well. But if you just want the video reviews, you guys know what to do by now. Subscribe, like, do all those kind of things if you want. If not, no big deal. And don't see all these videos where people are pressuring you to do all these things and jamming it down your throat. Whatever you guys want to do, up to you. But I appreciate the support either way. I appreciate the hate either way. It doesn't matter. Twitter, Facebook information down below as well. You reach out to me, talk about this movie, other movies, horror, want something reviewed or what. We can talk about it there. Also in the comment section below, whether you liked the movie, didn't like the movie, if you want to reach out to me with something else, please feel free to do so there. And we'll see what he has coming next. I don't know what's next for him. We'll see. But we'll see. We'll see where his skill lands there. Whether it continues the staying high or it's going to start the sliding scale here. So we'll see. So so that's it for Nope, and I will catch you on the next review, horror fans.